Hey everyone, and welcome to Broke to Woke. I'm your host, Ann Marlin, and like you, I am along for the ride with Jaime Langbein, financial advisor with a passion for helping people of all walks of life to achieve their financial goals. Now, before we dive in, I want to be upfront. I am a proud ally of the LGBTQ plus community, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Jaime. Jaime's life experiences mean that her door is wide open to everyone, and she's very much aware of the fear and the anxiety that people can feel, especially when it comes to money. However, Jaime says it best. She doesn't get emotional about your money. She does get passionate about helping others to achieve their financial goals and dreams, especially when it comes to money. January is Financial Wellness Month, and it's a time to consider money matters as well as plan for your future. So Jaime in this episode is going to talk about financial wellness from those common struggles that can lead to stress, as well as ways of setting up a savings account, for example, in order to mitigate potentially financially impactful events that can then impact your wellness overall. So let's go have a listen in. Hey, welcome to another episode of Broke to Woke. Today we get the pleasure of talking to Jaime about Financial Wellness Month. So I love that this is in January. Jaime, tell me what this means.
Great question, Anne. Before we hop into it, happy 2025. I hope that 2024 gave you blessings, success, and happiness. I know we shared in December how great 2024 was for me, for my clients, for my family. And now we're into January, which we always kick off January with Financial Wellness Month. And being a certified financial planner, it is one of my favorite months because it's where we really focus in on the financial side of wellness. And wellness is such a buzzword, right? You hear corporate wellness, you hear fit wellness, you hear all of that. But in January, when we're wanting to set out on the right foot for 2025, we really focus in on the financial. And what does that mean? Well, really, it means looking at things like budget, looking at things like savings. I was just having a conversation like probably 2 days ago with a 45-year-old who said, no one ever taught me how to manage my money. And that specific individual is learning from social media channels. But that is something that I can assist with as well. And those social media channels have led to conversation with that specific person. But finance creates such stress for people. And that's why it's called financial wellness, because we do want to relieve that stressful aspect. Because if we don't, it can lead to things like insomnia, weight fluctuations, depression, anxiety, relationship issues. I work with a lot of mental health professionals, and so often they say finances is a big part of relationship stress. So what do we do in Financial Wellness Month? Well, in Financial Wellness Month, let's start by getting a snapshot of where we are today. We need to know where to start. And in order to know where to start, we have to know where the starting line is. And so it's really about getting a picture of today. And there's two facets to that. There is, first of all, the facet of your overall balance sheet, right? That's going to be any savings you have, any, long-term savings, your home, your mortgage, all those pieces. That's one piece of it. But the bigger piece of it is breaking that down into more of the personal cash flow and really taking a picture and seeing, where is my money actually going? Because it's really easy to say, I'm going to spend X number of dollars on dining out, and I'm going to spend X number of dollars on groceries, and I'm going to have no spend days so many days a week. And these are all wonderful things to set. But if you don't know where you're at today, you're really kind of just grasping at bugs in the air. And they're like the really annoying little bugs that you can't really catch. And so we really need to do an evaluation of what's going on today so that we can set those achievable benchmarks. Because if you're a family of 3, your grocery bill is going to look a lot different than a family of 5, than a family of 7. And so it's really, like I said, looking at where we're at today. And that's one piece of financial wellness is the cash flow piece. Maybe for some people, it's debt management. And there's a lot of people that I work closely with that have strategies that aren't necessarily available to me, but through working with them, we can find alternate ways to get our debt under control. And then emergency savings so that we don't end up in the same position. As a society, we hear a lot of noise, and there's a lot of financial celebrities out there who give these blanket suggestions to people. Some of those may be dated, and some of those are not going to fit everyone's unique situation. So during this month of January 2025, let's take an opportunity to get an idea of where you're at today and set some goals, some thresholds, some ideas for the year that are achievable and that make you feel better about your finances so you don't suffer from the insomnia, from the depression, the anxiety. Let's make that not a stressor in your life.
You just alluded to, though, the things that make us stressful is sometimes we get bad advice. And you mentioned the noise and maybe some, we'll say, social celebs. Do you have any other stories about people that have come to you and thought that they were benchmarking or doing the right things, and you're like, this is why having someone you can sit with and walk you through this is so important?
Absolutely. So the one that, really hits the hardest for me, and this is still just even thinking about it, makes me a little nauseous, for lack of a better way to put it. So this individual had in their mind that they were doing fantastic because they had what they had set as their benchmark in emergency savings as $1,000, because that's what they had heard from a financial celebrity. And they were just killing paying off their student loans. Well, unfortunately, they had a long-term illness that took them out of their profession for a length of time. That $1,000 on top of, I believe they had a small disability insurance payout each month, but that $1,000 didn't take them far at all. And the lender behind their loan wasn't willing to give them all the extra they'd been paying for it. So they had this feeling that they were on top of the world until they didn't live in a vacuum. And we don't live in vacuums. We don't know what tomorrow holds. I'll say it 1,000 times, and I know I've said it on this before, but I don't have a crystal ball to know what your future looks like. And so we need to make sure that we're not doing a blanket approach and that we have a situation that's going to work when times are good, but also when we get curveballs thrown at us.
So the curveballs, and I think being prepared and having someone that's like, great that we're planning for a great future, but to what you said, without a crystal ball, what if we are also prepared for the things that are going to possibly, come up and cause insomnia, weight gain, when you do have the perfect plan fall apart?
And when you have so many things going on, right? Whether it be job, family, schooling, extracurriculars, there's so many pieces to it. So I can come into the picture and be an accountability buddy. Just check in with you, make sure things are feeling good, and be there for the curveballs too. And so that's really what Financial Wellness Month is about, is having a plan, having some benchmarks, and working towards those. And for some people, it's checking in once a year. Some people it's twice a year. Some people it's monthly. It's really going to depend on where they're at life and how detailed those benchmarks that we've set are.
So speaking of benchmarks, we're almost at time. What's a good way to get started in a financial well-being journey?
Great question. I think the best place to start is to evaluate where we're at today. And what I mean by that is look at what you spent in a prior 2 months. I always say do not use December for that because there's so many extra things happening in December. So look at your October and November. Where did I actually spend money? What was necessary? What was extra? And if there's places to cut back, where can I cut back? And then set some benchmarks based off that.
Awesome. Well, Jaime, thank you for walking us through Financial Wellbeing Month in January and for giving us some ways of getting better sleep and taking care of ourselves with finance.
Absolutely. I love to help with this. I love to, like I said, be an accountability buddy. So let's sit down. I'll do that evaluation for you to start out. But until we start, we can't get better.
Great point. All right. Thank you, Jaime.
Thanks, Ann.
If you would like to evaluate where you are, you can contact Jaime via the link below or on her Facebook page. And in either direction, you'll be able to have a conversation with her just to get an idea of what your financial wellness priorities are and to do that beyond just the month of January as well. So feel free to reach out and learn more from Jaime on what can be tailored specifically to you. This podcast is intended for general public use. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities LLC and your financial representative are not undertaking to provide investment advice or make a recommendation for specific individual or situation or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Jaime is a registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities LLC, PAS. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Financial Architects Inc. is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. 700-8414.12 expires 1/27.